a fireside chat with the innovators. It is an informal and engaging discussion format where a panel of accomplished innovators comes together to share their insights, experiences, and expertise with an audience. This chat event is going to allow attendees to gain valuable knowledge about the innovation process, the challenges faced, the solutions devised, and the best practices followed with the cutting-edge innovations that these experts have brought to life. With a huge round of applause, I would like to call upon stage our two fireside panelists, Mr. Mayank Jani, CEO, MNT Infovision Private Limited. A huge round of applause, please. Mr. Suket Amin, founder, Sunbots Innovations LLP. A huge round of applause. And our moderator for the chat, Mr. Janil Shah, convener, Programs Committee, AMA.
All right, I think we also have two other speakers with me. One is Dr. Karnav from Salvo. Doc, if you can please join on the stage. And we also have Kanishk from VR, of course, a good friend, Kanishk. I'm sorry for this because I think we had late-minute additions. We could get Doc and Kanishk on board as well, so lovely. Yeah, over to you, sir. Please carry on if you have.
I would like to request Ms. Pehel Shah to felicitate Mr. Mayank Jani. A huge round of applause, please. I would request Ms. Riddhi Parmar to felicitate Mr. Suket Amin. A huge round of applause, please. And I would request Ms. Riya Patel to felicitate Mr. Janil Shah. A huge round of applause, please. Over to you, sir.
Maybe we'll get one for Karnav and Kanishk a little later, I think. All right, are we all set for the session? See, one of the reasons they call it a fireside chat is that time vadar na hoy, okay? So, I mean, that's a nice way to put something. We don't have much time. So, what we do is, we have a very diverse set of panel here with us. We have 4 people, all of them doing different work. In fact, some of them were actually working somewhere and then they've come forward and are entrepreneurs now. So we have some interesting journeys. What we do is maybe we start with you, Suket, and we try and understand what you do for about a couple of minutes and then I'll start with the questions. So we start with Suket, you, and then we go to Mayank. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. So everybody settled down? Yes. So before I tell you what I'm doing right now, I'll first share what I used to do and how I reached where I am today. So after my graduation, like most of them, if they have family businesses, joined there, didn't settle down there. Engineer by graduation, wanted to do something techie, moved to a startup. And the first product that we were actually building was an autonomous ground vehicle platform for security and surveillance applications back in 2017. And by 2019, 2020, like sir mentioned, that it's very important to identify the problem. And that's where we failed. And that was the first failure that we had. And I'm proud to say that thank God I failed, and in that I learned a lot. And that learning is what today I'm applying, and where I have my second product, which we've launched, is an smart glasses for blind and visually impaired. We use the same technology, but a different problem for a different use case, where we help blind and visually impaired have better life than what they are having today. So that is the journey that we've embarked on. And we feel that this shift has actually created a new venture for us, and it was something that we all accepted that failures have come. There are challenges that we face today also when we've launched the product. But yes, with time, people get it, join you, help you, and they solve the problems together. So, yeah.
Fabulous. Mayank, if we can have you.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I passed out in 2010 from VGEC Chankheda. If any of the students are from VGEC, in electronics and communication. Okay. So after that, I joined. I worked for 10 years for a couple of MNC. One is US based, one is Israel based. And in 2021, I have started my entrepreneur journey. We are a company called M&T Infovision Private Limited. In initial 2 years, we are the distributors. So we used to get the products from the famous brand and we distribute it across India. So we have a 4 division. One is the robotics that you can see. Then there is cyber security, then UC, and then the networking. Okay, so in innovate, we forced to innovate because, you know, when we distribute the product where you are dependent on some other manufacturers. So we were dependent on other manufacturers where we take the manufacturer brands from, you know, 0 to some very good milestones, couple of million, 3 millions. Then they used to get the more distributors in India. So we don't have any control. So we forced to innovate. So Albotics is our brand. So Albotics is the brand where we cater all the service robotics. This is the one of the robot. We have a whole series of the robotics with us. Then we have a Nosti, which is a cyber security brand. There we are doing across the globe. Then we have one more brand that we are launching in couple of months, which is going to be UC and networking series. Yeah, so this is all from my.
Excellent. In fact, very interesting journey of yours as well. I'll come to a couple of questions that I have, but before that, maybe Doc, if you can share. Yeah, you'll need a mic there.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Karnav Patel. I graduated in dentistry from 2006 to 2011. From 2012 to 15, I've done my master's in oral and maxillofacial surgery, that is surgeries for face and jaws. After finishing my master's, I pursued post-op in head and neck cancer surgeries. I worked at Shalby Hospitals earlier as a part of head and neck cancer team. And then I began my entrepreneurial journey. I left my job on 31st December 2016 with no entrepreneurial background and no idea what startups are. So anyone from the doctor fraternity here, medical field? Okay, so I'm the only strange one here. So this is a strange journey.
Conveys how terrifying the field is. So
yeah. So see, it's very common for people in our country to expect doctors in this field. This unexpected thing. Okay, the most common question that if you're a doctor, why doing these things? So what I do, we are manufacturing surgical gowns and surgical drapes. Whatever doctors wear or whatever patients wear or whatever we use in operation theaters. So we manufacture those things. We manufacture those things in a town named Vijapur. It's a taluka place. So we are not any high-tech startup based in Bangalore or Hyderabad or even Ahmedabad. Okay? And we started from home. Our journey began in 2020 in August itself. So 3 years down the lane. A home-based company has reached from 120 square feet area to 15,000 square feet area. Reached almost 24 states, 6-7 countries, and employed over 50 people. So it's a matter of pride that products from our country are reaching different countries, and I think that's the motto of startup. 3 things which I love are the product should be sellable, sustainable, and scalable. So any product which has these 3 things are going to scale. Thank you.
Interesting. In fact, in the session before, Hiranmay was talking about instead of all the Silicon Valleys, can we also think of an Indus Valley? But here you have a startup from Vijapur and not just the Bangalores and the Hyderabad. It's great, Doc. Kanish, we can quickly hear your story before we move to the questions. Yeah. Also, before Kanish takes over, we have about half an hour here now. Any other questions from the audience? Of course, I'll try and do my best to get the most out of them. But if there are any questions, just through the discussion, if you can raise hand, I'll try and spot you. Right? Great. Kanishk.
Yeah, so hi, good afternoon everyone. My name is Kanishk and my company's name is We Hear. So in a single line, if I say what we do is, we make people hear without their ears. So anybody has heard of something like that? Like anything which makes you hear without ears. So that is what we do. So we have the patented product called Hear New. So Hear New is a world's first hearing aid product for people with even no, they have no ears at all. They can wear the product and hear like me and you. So that is what we are doing. And so whatever we do is, all the electronics, all the development, designing, everything has been done in-house only. And our product is, so right now more than 5,000 hearing impaired kids who were completely deaf by birth. They were not able to hear anything. They were not able to speak anything. These people are now using our product. And more than, so right now, if we talk about the consumers, people who have been like suggested for a surgery worth 12 to 15 lakh rupees, we have created this non-surgical indigenous solution for them. And right now we are available in 16 cities in India, and also we are exporting in 6 countries. And this our patented product is right now having a published patent in 19 other countries. So we are working with different governments, we are working with different private practitioners, doctors, ENT audiologists, and we provide them this one-of-the-kind hearing aid solution. Also, we have one more lifestyle product. So that is what we call We Hear OX. So that is the substitute of your earphones and headphones. So right now I'm wearing one. So whatever I'm wearing is, it's not going inside my ear, but it just works as my headphone. So it's not using my ears at all. It's not damaging my ears at all. And even though right now I'm like, let's say I'm having a call, I'm listening to something, I have my ears open. So we have this new product, new category called We Hear OX. It's world's first smart headphone. So it has a lot of smart features. It doesn't damage your ears. It allows you to hear your surrounding. It has multiple real-time language translation tools. So a lot of features are into a single product. So mainly we do 2 things. One, we make a solution for people who are already having hearing issues, and we make solutions for you guys because you want to save your ears. You don't want to use the first product. So that is what we do. Thank you.
Interesting. All right, so we start with questions, and one of the first questions I want to ask you, Doc Karnav, is you said that what you manufacture, right? Now, what is the reason that made you believe in that story that you're doing? Because I'm sure this is not the first factory making gowns or the drapes. So one, was it just the belief in the India story? Was it the belief in the entrepreneurial journey? Or was it that you could do something to drapes and gowns that nobody else was offering? What was it? Because after all this education, to move to entrepreneurship is not an easy jump.
There is a book named Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. So I had my OPD at Jodhpur and Indore on Saturdays. So while traveling, I was reading that book. And that was something which prompted me to leave my job. Okay. And see, being a Guju, it's in blood to be an entrepreneur. So there is nothing new that I think everyone here wants to be an entrepreneur in a small or bigger way. It's all about leaving your comfort zone. When you are, I've been a gold medalist, I've been topper throughout. I was very well placed, not well placed, very well placed. But then we were doing most advanced surgeries in head and neck cancer surgeries, like free flaps. When we remove the jaw, we were placing the bone from the leg and creating a new jaw. So there are very few doctors doing, we were doing those. But then there is something that you find gaps in the healthcare system which you can feel, which you can feel. And I left my job to develop a virtual hospital. So that was my first startup. It was named Hashi Care. And it was launched in 2017-18. Being a doctor, I knew nothing about startups. What is proprietorship? What is a private limited company? Not the terms, what is a VC? What is an angel investor? So very new to these things, understanding. And first thing, I wanted to pursue MBA in entrepreneurship. I was studying, but then I realized that I don't have the money. And it's a general perception that doctors do have money, but it's not always the case. So when I realized that I don't have the money, I started watching videos from Harvard Innovation Lab, Stanford, IIM. All the videos are available online for startups. I started my journey. I used to attend all the workshops at all different locations. I got to understand what is an incubator and all those things. When the first startup was going good, at that time, COVID hit us. But the 3-4 years what I spent in the startup world had taught me a lot. And when COVID hit, I was helping few companies to manufacture goods and creating awareness videos. And then my doctor colleague started telling me, when you have this knowledge, why don't you utilize this? As a typical startup founder, I was totally bankrupt, means I didn't have money. And I was not going back to job because if I went back to job, I will never come back to entrepreneurship. True. So on May 20th, I had borrowed 1 lakh from my friend and started trading medical products from home. I started trading masks. Within 2 months, I know that this is a Diwali kind of business. Diwali will go, people won't buy crackers. I returned 1 lakh, created 1 lakh capital and bought 3 sewing machines. Sewing machines. Okay. The speciality of sewing machines is that you can make shirts, pants, or even surgical gowns. It's a I told one thing, sellable, sustainable, and scalable. I knew one thing, that I had the quality to sell. I learned that over a period of time. So we started making surgical gowns. Anyone can tell a brand in India which is very famous in medical device category? Any brand? Do you know Johnson & Johnson? Do you know 3M? Do you know Salvo? If you don't know, you should know. Because see, the thing is that among the top 10 companies, we never had an Indian brand. See, we are not in top 10. We are not even in top 100 or not even in top 1000. But we want to be. And with that desire, we started a company. And I'd operated a patient for facial surgery. That patient had a shop. He said, sir, why don't you use our property? We started with 1 shop, low rents in Vijapur. We grew from 1 shop to 10 shops to around 47 shops area. That's around 15,000 square feet. We are one of the most advanced companies in 3 years now. We are a CDSCO licensed companies. And see, understanding the technicalities of surgical draping. For gynec surgery, you need different clothes for the patient. For neurosurgery, you need different attire for patients. Means you have to cover this area. Only the operating site has to be visible. And there is something known as hospital-acquired infections. Who can understand hospital-acquired infections better than doctors? It is difficult. Okay, there is something known as sterility. Area which has to be without microorganisms and product which do not contain microorganisms like bacteria, viruses to prevent spread of infections. So this is where I come into play, and I think we can make better products. But it requires a teamwork, and we are doing it.
Fabulous. So I think a couple of quick insights from Doc is that one is the passion for entrepreneurship. I think that is the underlying theme. And then, of course, your knowledge, your USPs, your ability to sell, scale, borrow, and give back. I think all of that can be the secondary aspects. But the passion for entrepreneurship is one thing that we can definitely take away from Doc. I'll come back to you. But before that, I go to Suket, right? Suket, you work in the IT domain. In the smart glasses. Now, yours is a social impact kind of initiative. In fact, this is one of the questions I asked you in the lobby as well, that not every person who is blind is capable to pay you. How do you deal with this challenge? One, of course, there is a set of segment which can pay, but for the rest, what do you do?
So, in India, there are over 50 million blind and visually impaired. Yeah. We are the world's capital for blind and visually impaired.
That's about 5 crore people.
Yes. And if you talk about total world, 90% of the blind live in developing nations. So, to bottom it up, there are hardly going to be a paying capacity for any sort of assistive device that's built for disability in the world. And this is one of the biggest challenges that WHO is also facing on how we can have assistive device to every single person. And seeing our lifestyle, aging population, disability is going to increase, especially for visual disabilities. India today, not many can actually pay for the device. We have built a technology which is an AI based. The similar technology costs 2 to 3 lakh in a foreign country, where we are able to bring it down to 12,000 rupees. And still we find it difficult in getting it to the masses. And if we have to get, the major players are going to be CSRs, donations, government, but all this channel take time. Adaptability is also one condition where not all the blind can adapt to technology. So you work with a specific group of people who are young, who are well versed with technology. So the adaptation in those kind of people are faster. So younger generation from class 9 onwards, whom we work with for educational application, where the glasses basically helps them in reading any printed documents. So we have Blind People Association, who is our partner in development. So we've been testing these devices with them for 6 months, and they have gone out to their partners to raise funds where they can give it out to their students. So that way we see that NGOs also take part in fundraising. We also have individuals who hear about the technology. They donate 5 devices, 10 devices. And we feel that eventually people, once they know about the product, they do a kind of donation for the products. And later on, we can have people who can buy on a subscription model. So that is also something that we are exploring, where someone can pay monthly 300 rupees, 400 rupees, and he can use the product. So that is also something that we are exploring. Yeah.
Interesting. You have a question for Suket? Yeah. Sure. Yeah, we'll take care of that. All right. Coming to Mayank, now one of the interesting things that you do is robots, right? Tell me something about the marketing aspect, because I understand technicalities is not what something a lot of people will be interested in. But how do you sell robots? You sell to restaurants, you sell to healthcare service providers. How do you convince? Is it the cost benefit efficiency, or is it the service efficiency? What do you tell your clients, and how do you sell robots basically?
Yeah, typical the case what we have done recently is with Adani. So in Adani Gas, we have closed the deal. So in Adani Gas, they have a service station. So they have a service station. They are going to have a service station across the Gujarat. You know, where you get there, you pay the bill and everything you do.
Correct.
Now, initially the plan was in the service station, they want to put 5 people.
Okay.
Right. So what they have done is they put one robot over there for the testing. Okay. This is an AI based robot. So it gets better every day. So they put their internal application over there. So when you go to the service station, they will ask you all the questions. You know, you can answer, just click over it and you can answer. For example, if you want to pay the bill, you click it, they give you the barcode, you can pay the bill, and that's all. So 99% of the question has been answered over there with the robot. Even if you have a query, the robot can do the VC directly to their corporate house, you know, their service station. So they can do the VC over there. And then, so most of the problems are solved in the service station. So instead of 5 people, they are planning to put only 2 people in the service station, and instead of 3 people, they are going to put 2 robots over there. So if you count the return of investment, because end of the day, you know, robot is very fun. It is very, you know, it's very looking good to use it. You know, for some people it is a statement that I have a robot, you know, in my company or in my house. But end of the day is ROA. So if you consider the ROI, you know, you consider 1 people's salary, you know, for a year. Then these robots work 24/7. Yeah, because it's power itself on their own. You don't need to power it up. So it work 24/7. कोई छुट्टी नहीं लेनी पड़ती, कोई PF देने का झंझट नहीं, कोई you know जो भी हमको मैन पावर रखने के लिए लीगलिटी है वो भी कुछ ज़रूरत है नहीं, और उसका मूड कभी ख़राब नहीं होता. So it is the same always. So you know it is after that ROI it is easy to sell. And you know, if you see the service industry, India में अभी तक नहीं हुआ है, but if you go to the Singapore, if you go to the Malaysia, their hotels are already adaptive, all the robots. So if you go stay in the room, service will be delivered through the robots only. You know, the people will not come you to delivery the services. Then even house. So second big market is a elderly. So जहाँ पे भी घर पे elder अकेले रहते हैं, you know in India में there's going to be a problem because lots of people are going outside India, Canada जा रहे हैं, US जा रहे हैं, the parents are here. So robots can stay in the home. वो 24/7 security रख सकते हैं. जैसे अभी US में एक incident हुआ था last week where you know elder the parents were living there. एंड ओनली वन सो दादा थे वहाँ पे जो रह रहे थे वहाँ पे, और उनका वो स्लिप्ड आउट ऑफ द बाथरूम. सो देयर नोबडी टू कॉल. सो रोबोट वेंट ओवर देयर, ही डन द VC विद द डॉक्टर डायरेक्टली बिकॉज इट वॉज प्रोग्राम लाइक दैट, एंड डॉक्टर रीच आउट ओवर देयर एंड इट सेव हिज लाइफ. सो दिस कैन बी यू नो वेरी वेरी प्रैक्टिकल एग्जाम्पल. इट विल यूज इन टू द होम for the security reason, for any of the reasons, because it's a far more efficient. AI is very very nice. और यू नो देर इज़ ऑलवेज डिबेट दैट इसकी वजह से लोगों की जॉब जाएगी. नो देयर इज अ बिग डिबेट. जब हम गवर्नमेंट के पास जाते हैं तो गवर्नमेंट का सबसे पहले यही रहता है कि तुम लोगों की जॉब क्यों खा रहे हो, you know. But you know it is like that, it is going to be happen like industrial revolution. जब factories में machines आई थी, lots of mills has to close down because you know you cannot adapt that, you cannot grow. So it is going to be there. So we are seeing as a robotics is going to be fastest because every year robots are getting doubled. So that is a survey that every year is getting double, and by 2028 there will be more robots in the world than the humans. So that's the survey that has been done. So yeah, so that's why we are focusing very heavily on the service robotics. Yes.
Interesting. So I think a couple of things that you're saying. One is the convincing power of the product itself. And then two is the ROI. And the third aspect is that the limitations of human beings are being overcome, be it about taking leaves, PFE, SIC, compliance, and so on and so forth. So interesting there. We have Kanishk with us. Kanishk, I think one of the products, because I have been one of the direct witness to the products that he has been able to create. I want to ask you, it's a fairly revolutionary product in itself, right? Because with 19 countries giving you a certain trademark and registration, what were the challenges in developing it? I mean, did it really happen like a eureka moment where you had to go through 1,000 trials? And what was the mindset during that process? Ki agar fail ho gaya to kya hoga? Because innovation, as we understand, I'm sure through the theme, you'll all realize that it's all about risk taking. So if you can maybe take us through that journey.
Mainly, you know, challenges are divided into two parts. First part is the product development side. So development, you know, I'll just tell you, we started it in 2017. So almost it has been like 6.5 years of the existence of the company. So उसमें से पहले 4 साल, first 4 years were only development. So we haven't got any sort of any sort of sales, any sort of outcome out of it. But it was only a development part. And the main challenge was, so hearing aid industry बहुत पुराना है. Like there are players who are 100 years old companies, 150-year-old companies into it. And there is no manufacturer into this hearing aid industry in the India. And India is, again, you know, as you know, it's the largest market. So जैसे Suketu said, there are 5 million people who are visually impaired. There are 6.3 million people who are hearing impaired in India. So worldwide अगर आप ratio भी निकालोगे, so India is 20% of the population जो deaf है world के comparison में. So it's a really huge market and there are no players into it. So mainly the challenge was development. So development में India में क्या है कि now semiconductor, electronics, all those things are happening. But when we started in 2017, the resources were very limited. So there are no manufacturers, no vendors for all those things. So we started it. It took us almost 3.5 years to make the first product out of it. And उसके बाद भी, to go it to the mass level, so we did a lot of testing. So almost it's our 7th iteration of the product. So इतना सारा हमने iteration किया, लोगों पे testing किया, and almost after 4.5 years we were able to come up with the first product. So that was the first challenge of development because of the limited resources. And second interesting thing was, so when you come up with something new, so hearing aid industry is, as I said, 120 years old industry. तो बहुत सारे audiologists, बहुत सारे doctors हैं who are very much comfortable with all the previous products they had, all the surgeries they have been doing. So now, when you come up with something new like that, it's a totally new concept, no products in the market till now. So when you go to an audiologist, when you go to a doctor, and being from a non-medical background, being from, being an engineer, going to a doctor and telling them, no, this is the better solution than whatever you were doing for last 50 years. So you can imagine how he is going to react at first. So that same thing happened with us. So when we went to them with a new technology, new solution, and हम जाके उसको बता रहे कि सर आप जो 8 लाख का सर्जरी कर रहे हो, मैं आपको 40,000 में उसका एक सब्सटीट्यूट प्रोडक्ट दे रहा हूँ, आप इसको देखो, ये नया प्रोडक्ट है, नया टेक्नोलॉजी है. So initially there was very much resistance कि ये तो हो ही नहीं सकता, आप तो बता रहे हो, what is the impact. So then what we did was we took a really good initiative with government. So हमने क्या किया, in government of Gujarat we started working with, there's something called Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. So what they have is they have list of all the hearing impaired individuals, school going kids across the state. So वहाँ पे जाके we did the pilot with them. So we tested on somewhere around 4,700 kids जो completely deaf and dumb थे by birth. So we went to each and every district, each and every taluka of the state. वहाँ पे जाके हमने camps किए. And out of that, 3,400 kids who were completely deaf by birth, they were able to hear with the device without any surgical intervention. So that database, that use cases, that helped us a lot. And again, Yeah. So again after that we given them devices, unke responses, unke videos. So no, it took us a very long time for creating a trust among the industry of this audiologist and ENTs. So both the things were very challenging. Product development because of the limited resources in India, and the going to the market thing because of it's a very new thing in the market. So challenges were really too much, but it no, like again as an entrepreneur, that's what we do. We struggle, we hustle, and we came to this point.
Interesting. So one of the things that comes out of Kanishk's point is also that as an innovator, it's not just the product that you are innovating, it's also the fundraising model that you might have to innovate. It's also the marketing strategy that you have to innovate. It's also the team building strategy. And then something that doctor said, Vijapur might not be the most sought after location for, manufacturing gowns and drapes, but he had to do that because that is, again, gut of an entrepreneur, and that is the gut of an innovator, that if you want to do something different, you'll have to innovate in every single step. It's not just about the product or the service that you are innovating. Also, a couple of students there, if you want to have a talk or maybe spend some time on mobile, there's a nice, beautiful lobby out there at AMA. But if your friends really want to attend and listen to them, spare them. Don't be a little loud. I'm just told by the organizers. Please maintain the decorum in the conference. And let everybody else enjoy the learning process. Okay, so we have last few minutes before we end the session. What I want all of you to do, answer this one generic question. In fact, there's a big list that I had. I thought I'll ask some of the questions is, what is the feedback process in your product? So let's say if you're selling gowns, what is the feedback process? If your hearing aid, again for the visual impairment, what is the feedback process that you have? And how do you further go and innovate? Because the problem with the thing is you're anyway striking your eureka moment after some 4 or 5 years. Then you go, you take the product to the market, it spends about another 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and then suddenly you realize that tons of other issues that remain to be solved. So what is the feedback process and product improvement? How does it work?
Mainly through anger. So once you send a bad product to a doctor, you have to tolerate them. So see, we make various products for doctors. Our customer base is doctors. So it's very difficult to fool them. So and we are totally based on their feedback to correct things. See, when I started, this is not my sector, to make clothes or any medical textiles for that matter. And I worked in head and neck department, so I understand those surgeries. But now we are developing maximum amount of delivery drapes, so for gynecology. So I need to understand the requirements of those doctors. I need to attend those OT if required and understand their needs, what problems they are facing with the present product, what others are creating or what we are creating, and then improve on those things. It takes its own course of time. Getting licenses is a big problem. Now we are a licensed company with CDSCO. But then understand, lot of multi-specialities are there, more than 120 specialities. Now knee has a different doctor, elbow has a different doctor, eye has a different doctor, nose has a different doctor. So each organ has a specialist and a super specialist. Understanding their needs is again a special problem. And if we commit mistakes, they are going to correct us. And we have to. See, a customer wants to buy, give them the best product. Okay. And just an example. Sometimes how many of you are proud that Apple is going to be manufactured in India? How many of you are going to be proud? Are you proud or not? Yes or no? Do you really think we should be proud of it? Okay. Thank God. So, see, we should be proud even if we are assembling a 10,000 rupee phone with our own strategies and our own mindset. I would rather be proud of we here more than Apple, to be very frank. They have utilized all the assets of our country, the brains are from our country, and they are shipping the products outside from our country. What we are doing with Apple is job work. Okay, so the best any customer, their feedback makes us the best manufacturers.
Interesting. Yes. Well.
Yeah, so our product is technology product. So generally it goes through POC. So we have to do POC for days, sometimes months. बट पर्टिकुलरली रोबोटिक्स में वी गेट वेरी स्ट्रेंज आंसर समटाइम. जैसे हमने एक रियल एस्टेट एजेंट को भी सप्लाई दिया, वेरी बिग टाइम रियल एस्टेट कंपनी. सो उनका फ़ोन आया कि मैंने दे हैव बॉट 2 robots. सो दे कॉल्ड अस कि मेरे को 2 और चाहिए बट आई वांट हैंड्स. So then we got we are also supplying to the Maruti for
They
their
were real estate guys, right?
real estate
You
guy.
forgot they need to count cash.
So yeah, so then we one time we got a feedback that आपका robot लंबा क्यों नहीं है? Why it is shorter on size? So this kind of all feedback we get, but yeah, we take that feedback very genuinely. We try to get it up, if it is viable or not, if it is commercially viable or not, it is going to be in masses if we do that changes or not. So yeah, so feedback really matters for us, and we work on the feedback. Our entire team we work on the feedback, and then we get back if it is viable. We get back with them with the particular solutions.
Interesting. Suket.
So ours is a smart glass which is connected to an Android phone. So we collect a lot of data from the usage. To give you an example, we are testing a new update with 68 users. In last 1 week, our 3 dominant features that they've been using, if I give you an analytics, for the object identification in last 1 week, 68 users had identified over 17,000 objects that are around them. So that may be indoor, they may be outdoor. So that kind of data we collect. For our reading purposes, more than 41,000 words were told to the blind. So that for reading purposes they might have used. They might have used it for even identifying different products, or even reading any signboards, or maybe reading the name written on the shop. So like that, 41,000 words were spoken to the blind. And more than 1.2 thousand, around 1,200 times currency was verified by the blind. So this kind of data that we are monitoring, and this gives us an idea of where an individual will need more support. And we track their weekly usage, monthly usage, and then we identify where they need training, and then we provide that training. Because our technology does require regular training, and adaptation, like I mentioned, is very important. And for blind, that is what we are focused, because once they understand the product, they have the right training, then they can incorporate it as part of their life. And our goal is to actually change their life for better, and make it more inclusive, and maybe have an employment opportunity in future, and maybe get financial independence. Like how we have jobs, even they can have jobs. That's the goal that we are working.
Yeah, Kanish.
So, yeah, about the customer feedback. So, no, we being a D2C product, direct to consumer product, customer feedback is very important for us also. And we have been doing, like, whenever we, try, we roll out a new feature or we make a new product, we go through a rigorous customer feedback process. But I'll share you one very interesting thing. So initially we used to give the products to doctors, or we used to give the products to all the customers. But what happened is, we were not getting that kind of feedbacks from them. Then what we thought is, let us do something new. So if you take the feedback from customers who buys it from you, then it's no completely different thing. So पहले वो लोग बोलते थे things are good, things are working. But once when we make them pay for the product, you purchase it and now give us the feedback, then the thing was completely different. So छोटी से छोटी चीजें, छोटे से छोटे issues, they used to give that the belt is not turning off, button is hard. So all that kind of feedback. So one thing is, if the customers are paid customer, then you will get the actual customer feedback. So that is one thing which helped us a lot. So now all the trials, alpha, beta testing, everything we do it on paid customers only. So वहाँ से जो feedback मिलता है, that really helps us to improve the product at a certain level.
Lovely. All right, and that pretty much brings me to the last quick question in maybe one line. I see a lot of youngsters in this hall. JB Auditorium at AMF is an iconic location for us, but especially when we see this hall full of young people, there's a lot of energy here. All of you at 18, at 28, at 38, I think a lot of things must have changed and transitioned in your mind. If you were to give 2 pieces of advice, just 1 and 2, what would this be for these 18, 19-year-olds sitting in the audience?
Start early, fail early, learn again, and rise early.
Yeah, so take a risk. Take a risk and never give up. There will be always a solution.
For me, it would be work out of your comfort zone. So if you are in your area of interest, then your growth is limited. Once you step out of your circle, that's when your real potential will be tested.
And one more thing is, this is the perfect age to start because you have a lot of time to fail. So great time to start the things. You can take the risk. And second thing is, you have to be ready for doing a lot of things. Like let's say I'm an engineer, but I have done all the things. I have done finance, I have done marketing, I have done sales. So all the things, it's a great experience for you. You can, it's the best time to start the thing now.
All right, interesting and lovely answers, but I'm really sad none of them said that get your girlfriend, boyfriend in time. But anyways, that's okay. But that brings us to the end of this session. We have a couple of felicitations left. I'll leave that for the host to do, and then we can take a picture or something. Yeah.
Of course, as we have a few felicitations left, I would call upon stage Miss Pahil Shah to felicitate Dr. Karnav Patel, founder Salvo.